The organizational prophecy. I predict that you will be successful in this job. After all, you look just like me. You're the same height. You have the same type of accent and especially the same hair. I like my hair. You know what? I'm making fun of it, except it's true. That's how we do things. We have a perpetual process of deciding whether observed behavior or event is caused by the internal or external factors. We call this attribution. Is it something, the attribution, is it that behavior events caused by the person, or is it things that are caused by outside of that person's control? That's attribution. So here's an example. Did this person act this way in the situation in the past? Yes or no? This is how, if we pay attention to this attribution, we can start breaking away from stereotype images in the process, because it's critical that we give that person the opportunity. Yes, okay, then they're consistent in the process. Okay, we see that before. Okay, so what about distinctiveness? Okay, does this person act this way in other situations? Well, no. Okay, so that person really, they're responding to the way that things happened out there. The consensus, do other people act this way? Well, yes. Okay, then your expectation of this person to act differently is because, start breaking down as to why you're categorizing that person, and then some reality and then some clearness will happen to you. The attribution process, it improves our mental mode of causation. We focus in on this event happened and this happened over here. No, it's not like the same way it was before. It's different over here and this is different over here. Let's go back and check. But the problem is we'll have a self-serving bias. We'll sit down and say, well, I knew they would do that. I knew that. And you keep on watching the person for the same faults as you would think that they should be doing, because they look like, they sound like, they act like, or they have that same name, or they have that same background, or they have this, or they have that. You want to sit down and make certain there's a tendency to overemphasize the internal causes of somebody else's action. They meant to do that. They're nothing but a gossip all the time. I knew it. I knew it. I knew it. As soon as you keep on saying, I know it, I know it, you've been looking for reasons to dislike them, to not trust them, to sit down there and accuse them of incompetence. And a lot of times it's difficult to see the external causes of somebody else's behavior, and the error could be less common than you thought if you are paying attention. We call this a self-fulfilling prophecy. We have an expectation about this employee. You know, in the interview process, I knew I had a problem with him. I just knew it. This sure sounds like that guy we had here 3 or 4 years ago. I remember him, didn't trust him at all. Yeah, and he stole from us. Oh, I'm going to be watching him. So you have this thing that you keep on watching the employee. The employee knows they're being watched, but they don't know why they're being watched. They're thinking, I'm doing the best I can. I don't understand. So the supervisor behavior affects them because they're watching them and they're stalking them as they go through. Oh, I'm watching you. Oh, I've got my eyes on you. Oh, yeah. And so the employee then becomes more and more stalked, and they feel more afraid, and they do something wrong, and the supervisor says, ah, have you, just like I thought. I had somebody like you 3 years ago and they were bad, just like you are. And it happens. We create an environment that the person is not trusted, and they go through and they follow through with the expectations you place upon them, even if it's a negative expectation. It's the strongest at the very beginning of the relationship. You hold an expectation, they're going to let you down over here. Then you tell other people, watch them. I just remember that guy 3 years ago. Yeah, it was him. The employee has low achievement, and everybody's looking for the person to fail, because the seed is being planted by somebody else and not give this person a chance to be who they are. So pay attention to the self-fulfilling prophecy. It's damning, it's awful, it's terrible, and it happens all the time. Sometimes you get this whole thing of the halo effect. The person comes in and they have a halo hovering over them, and we think, oh, that person, they're so perfect. Or it's the opposite. They have horns growing out of their head. They even got a barbed tail in the back end. I think I've seen that. Yeah, I think I really have. So you got to watch them. They're from Satan himself. Yes, yes. Well, they're always angelic. Everybody else sees you're being played, but because of the fact you have some perception that you saw in the process, they're angelic. It depends. Halo, horns, just depends. Sometimes you overestimate the extent that other people share beliefs. I had a feeling about that person. I just always trusted him. The first time I saw them, the other person says, "Are you serious? I swear that person's an embezzler. I swear I saw their picture in the post office." Okay, the recency effect, sometimes they can do the whole year and they do their annual evaluation. And a month before, they do 11 months of spectacular work. Just a month before their evaluation, something big happens and they get blamed for it and everything. So you blame the whole year. Your whole year, you've been nothing but a screw up in the process. But it's only been the last month, 11 months. I was great. Yeah, I know you just messed up. We tend to do the recency. Pay attention as to when the scope is. Be honest on the entire interpretation, especially if it's about an evaluation. The primacy effect. We're quick to form an opinion of others based on the first information we hear about them. And it's really hard because we're still humans. It's hard to change. So make certain that we are aware of having a perpetual bias for good, for bad. Really try to avoid the stereotype, because the problems, they'll reinforce that if we let them, if we don't listen inside of our heads to that voice that says, give them a chance, give them a chance, and have an association test in the process. Look out there as to through that window as to what they can be in the process. People work together on valued activities. Work with them. That way you can sit down and get to know them in the process. Improve your empathy by listening to them. Here's the Johari window as you go through. We know a certain amount, but we have blind spots unknown to ourselves. Sometimes we don't even know we have these issues. So we have a blind area. Unknown to others, there's a hidden area. Sometimes they're unknown to almost anybody, and the person hasn't revealed anything about themselves because they don't know anybody, or maybe they're not even aware of it themselves. That whole aspect, feedback from others, really, really helps. There's an awful thing out there called the 360 evaluation. You have a group of people that evaluate you, and sometimes it can be very harsh. I created one of them, and we were doing all of our administrators at a college, and we really had a group of 15 people evaluating each person. It bogged everything down, but it was incredible as to how 6 months before we're going to confirm the evaluations, how everybody was nice to each other because they realized that 15 people are going to be looking at me. They didn't know who the 15 people were. So all of a sudden, everybody started behaving. We had some of the best team building exercises ever that 6 months before leading up to our evaluations, because of the people realized that they're going to be assessed by others around them. Attribution at times overrides truth. We all need to keep ourselves open. People's situations can arise that are new, but we classify them as something we already know about and judge for good, for bad. But either way, we need to have the open mind and work with that person that's in front of us, not the person that we fantasize in our own mind based upon other circumstances with other people. Organizational prophecy, it's real. Do your best to expect great things, and those things can happen just as well as the bad. Take care.